I'm very, very pleased to have Curt Allen joining me today. He's the president and CEO of the brand spanking new Mississippi Aquarium. If you haven't had a chance to go down yet, and you probably haven't, to be honest with you, because it just opened last Saturday, you are missing a treat. You need to get down there. It is, to quote Mayor of Gulfport, Billy Hughes, people keep telling him, I can't believe this is in Mississippi. And I think you'll have that same impact. Curt, thanks for joining us today.
Thanks for having me today, and it's been quite a week.
Yeah, I would say so. It's been quite a year, I would imagine, for you too, or a couple of years, as you've been on board pretty much from the get-go. You were elevated up to the president and CEO position not too long ago, but there's been obviously a lot of challenges thrown at you, and you've managed to make it all happen. Congratulations.
Thanks. Yeah, I came on board really before the shovel was put in the ground, and it's been a long, almost 3 years. We started January of 18, and through construction and challenges there, and the new world we live in really changes things around. So it's been a long road, but I can't be more proud of, it's not me, it's the staff, it's everybody that's come together to really push to get us over the finish line and make it a reality, because frankly, there's a lot of people that didn't think it would ever become a reality. And to get it open and to showcase what we have done is quite an accomplishment for the team behind me.
I did a lot of work down on the coast after Katrina as an editorial cartoonist, and then also with my church. And I didn't remember doing a cartoon talking about recovery being a marathon and not a sprint. And I've got to say that seeing that aquarium, particularly at the site where it's located, because, you had the blown out library there, you had just a lot of empty vacant properties that had to be joined together, you had some other properties that needed to be done, and to have that there, I mean, this is a major milestone for recovery on the coast.
Yeah, and one of the reasons that Billy and everybody else down on the coast wanted to kind of put the aquarium where it is to use it as an economic driver. And since we put the shovel in the ground, you've got the Harrison County Library that's been empty for 15 years, which is going to be the new transportation hub for all of public transportation on the coast of Gulfport. The second floor being the aquarium, offices, Centennial Place that had been empty for 15 years being revitalized with 2 hotels and a mixed-use complex. The Markham Hotel, empty for 15 years, now getting renovated to be a hotel. So you've got all of these things that have all been just waiting to happen until the aquarium started. And now all of a sudden, all of these things are becoming a reality. And that's really what the vision was how do we jumpstart the revitalization right in downtown Gulfport? Because a lot of the communities have already, Bay St. Louis has done theirs, and Ocean Springs has come a long way, and Pass and Long Beach and everybody else. But right downtown, we've had this section of area that hasn't been developed back. And now we're kind of the jumpstart for what's happening right along the Gulfport coast. So it's been fun to see. You've got Patio 44 that bought a piece of land and opened a restaurant. Boozer's Cafe with a coffee shop opened a restaurant. So you've got that ripple effect of economic development that's happening, and that's really one of the reasons why we wanted to bring this to fruition, is to really jumpstart the economy.
The numbers depend. I mean, I've seen 93 million, I've seen $100 million. It's a lot of money. There's some state money thrown in there. There's some BP oil money. There's some Gulfport obviously threw in a good chunk of money. There's a lot of money invested in this, but the sheer numbers of the potential $340 million a year impact on the local community plus.
Yeah. That ripple effect when they do the multipliers, it's tremendous. And, just us alone, we're up to 81 employees. So there's 81 people that are now working as part of the aquarium that, a brand new operation. And then you start adding all of the other employees that have been hired for the hotels and the restaurants and all of the other shops that are opening. That's where that ripple effect really starts to take effect, is how do we influence the community? And by providing jobs and good wages, that's really, really helpful, especially in the times we're dealing with right now.
I interviewed Mayor Hughes not long ago. This was before obviously you opened up, but he was really excited because, he was saying this brings a family-oriented aspect to the coast that, even though there were bits and pieces, but it's really honestly going to kind of be like a major draw on that. And, you're talking about that how it change as a community. You know, growing up, I grew up in Atlanta, the Georgia Aquarium, which of course you came out of that system, but I saw what happened in Chattanooga, where their downtown was completely dead, and they built the Tennessee Aquarium there, and you know the rest is history for Chattanooga. And it sounds like that's what's going to happen in Gulfport as well.
And Chattanooga was one of the models that they looked at when they were doing the studies prior to, you know, inking all the deals and looking at how an aquarium can revitalize an area and really jumpstart some of that development. You know, and after Katrina, the casinos came back in and really solidified some of that economics for the coast. And if it wasn't for the casinos, you know, we'd be in a lot different shape. So thankfully that they were here to do what they did. But the tourism market, you know, we've got Milton Segara down here now, who is just tremendous running coastal Mississippi, rebranding the entire coast. And the secret coast is really true in my estimation. I came here 3 years ago. I had never been here before. And I'm like, man, this place is great. And to be able to go out and recruit people from Vancouver and Alaska and California and Kentucky and Florida and all of these places around the country for some of the jobs that we had, every person that came down here is like, man, I had no idea. I had no idea how nice it was down here. And it's the water, it's the forest, it's the golf, it's the activities, but it really boils down to the community we have and the genuine hospitality we have along the coast that make people feel welcome. And, you know, people talk about Southern hospitality all the time, but we live and breathe it down here. And when people come visit, it's a whole new appreciation of community because they see what happens all along the coast between the different communities from, again, Bay St. Louis and Waveland over all the way to Pascagoula.
When we came down for the ribbon cutting, and by the way, that was just a really great event. And my son came with me. He's 13. He loves his aquariums, and he gave it a 2 thumbs up. But I really enjoyed talking to your team members, and all of them to a person. And I knew they were just all excited that you were finally getting open. They were like, we have been waiting for this day for half a year because of COVID and everything else. But it was that same thing that you were just talking about, though. A lot of them were from different parts of the country, and they were like, we love it here.
Yeah. Everybody says that. Everybody that we've brought down here, you know, I've moved my family here, the integration into the schools. It's unfortunate that when you say, hey, come to Gulfport, Mississippi, that the first thing in people's minds are not what we are.
Yeah.
And to get over that stigma and to get people here, it's really, it's a testament to the people and what we have, but the community should be proud of who we are and where we are because we're a dynamic group down here and we're very warm and welcoming. We are the state's aquarium, so, you know, we want to make sure that we represent the entire state, and we plan on doing that with our outreach and other programs. But, you know, being on the coast and trying to bring a little bit of the coast up north is going to be something special for us.
I can tell you, walking up from the parking garage, which, by the way, congratulations, that parking garage will now get used. But walking from that parking garage up to the building, my first thought was, will this survive the storm surge? And it is. You guys obviously did look at the Katrina storm surge, and you built it up. I mean, it's built up. You got flood walls. It's well protected. But you can see every dollar that you spent on that place shows when you walk up to it. It's a really, really nice facility. Tell us a little bit about it.
Yeah, to go back to storm surge, Katrina, everybody says Katrina was about 24.5 feet, somewhere in that ballpark. Our base elevation, like at the ticketing plaza, is at 25. And so we're at the top of the limits. We got our flood wall, we've got emergency pumps in the life support yard. So everything was designed to really think about Mother Nature. The buildings are designed for 160 mile an hour winds and those kind of things. So Mother Nature's always going to throw you a curveball, so you design the best you can, and I think we've done that very well. But the facility itself, you know, it's first class all the way. From the design team that started, the architect group that did the actual aquarium design, PGAV out of St. Louis, is world renowned for cultural institutions and aquariums. Things like rock work and theming came out of a company called Nazzle, who came over and did that. So like the otter habitat with all the logs and everything, I mean, it's just beautiful to look at, and they are artisans in what they do, and really bring the process to fruition as far as making it look the way it looks. And they're famous for doing Disney and Universal and all of the big parks around the world. They do theming. You know, even the life support design from a company called TJP, they're world renowned for doing aquarium design. So we brought in the top designers to really make sure that we focus on a first class operation. And when you walk through and you look at the materials and even the cladding on the buildings, the zinc cladding, and it just has all come together to be really, I think, elevated above what everybody was expecting. And people should expect the best all the time. And, you know, we found that people along the coast sometimes don't push perfection or push quality. And we really wanted to push the quality aspect and really showcase and have something that people can really, really be proud of. And when you walk through the acrylic tunnel, or you see that big window that's 30 feet by 25 feet, those are eye poppers. You know, even the swirl tank is an eye popper. And, you know, to have that here, is what Mayor said, you know, right here in Gulfport, Mississippi, it is something special. It is world class all the way. And the design team that came in to do the work, even the acrylic people, some of the city council members asked the acrylic people, what do you think compared to other aquariums? And every one of them said, man, this is first class. And they are very proud of the work that they were doing on it, but they compare it to a lot of other facilities, and they really gave us the thumbs up on it.
One thing I really liked about it, a lot of times when you go through the tunnel, when you see the fish, it's on the bottom floor. So you can't, right. This one is in the middle so that you can look up and look down and look to either side, and there might be a shark under you or above you. You know, that was really kind of a nice, unique twist.
That's the only one in the country. You know, everybody else in Audubon or Georgia, you've been to Georgia, they've got a moving sidewalk through theirs, you know, and some of the sea life centers that are down in Florida, all of the acrylic tunnels are sitting on concrete on the bottom, and you really don't get a chance to see 360 degrees. But to have about 12 or 13 feet of water underneath you and above you, it does give you a different perspective. And it's nice because the fish are cooperating and really filling the entire water column. So when you look out, there's stuff going on at every level, and you see the rays when you're up on the surface, when you're doing the touch tanks, the tunnel being that mid-level, and then the big eye popper window. You know, you really get to see everything there. So it's pretty cool.
You have a Goliath Grouper, I believe, a couple of them. That one's,
they're going
to be like 1,000 pounds before they're over with, so you might need to do a different tank.
Yeah, and they're the friendliest grouper around. Before we opened, they would follow people from window to window. You know, they're pretty funny. They're great.
It was funny because you could tell the animals were kind of getting used to all the people there, you know, because they're just used to the staff, and they were like, "Are you going to feed me? Are you going to feed me?" You know, so the rays would be following us around and so forth. I mean, like I said, though, I mean, what's inside is incredible. What's outside's incredible. You got the dolphins are coming. They're delayed because of tropical weather, but they're coming. You've got freshwater fish, and I mean, it's just the outside's as beautiful as the inside. You did a really good job tying
highlighting those Mississippi species in the river is really cool, because most people have never seen a paddlefish. Yeah. And when you see paddlefish swimming around, and how you talk to people and say that they're filter feeders, nobody knows that freshwater fish filter feed and open their mouth like a basking shark. You know, they do that. You know, or some of the big gar that are in there, and to see some of those species are really neat. The gar cooperate really well because they just kind of hang right in front of the windows. But the turtles and all the other stuff, the big alligator snapping turtle that's in there is really, really neat. The collection of birds we have on the walk-through aviary is spectacular. The aviary turned out, we've gotten more comments about how beautiful the aviary and the birds are than I think any of us expected, but it really, really turned out well. And then the otters are still getting used to their habitats, but they'll be out frolicking before we know it. And the other thing is, you know, there's really 3 different parts of the aquarium. Your aquarium at day, event center at night, and then kind of behind the scenes, you have our science and research programs that we're doing. So, you know, you put all those together, we really have a lot to be proud of here in the Mississippi Aquarium, because we're really going to be able to do some special things.
Yeah, I really like the education component and the fact that you can get out in the community. I mean, all the local schools are very lucky to have you there, obviously, too. And do you still have, I read somewhere where Mississippi State Vet School has worked to deal with y'all too?
Yeah, so we've partnered with Southern Miss and Mississippi State.
Yeah.
Mississippi State and Dr. Bennett from Southern Miss is on our board of directors, and Scott Willard from the veterinary school, he's the interim dean up there, is on our board of directors. And so we have connections with both schools, and we're partnering with both of them. And Mississippi State, we're probably going to bring our first veterinary intern down in January.
Nice.
And so we're gonna kick that program off. I toured around even the Gulf Coast Community College people the other day, and they want to start a vet tech program in collaboration with Mississippi State. So we're going to talk to them about creating that program and then bringing interns in on the vet tech program to ride kind of on top of the vet program. So those are all collaborations we're starting on. Our director of research has been out on the Point Sur boat with Southern Mississippi. So we're collaborating with them on different projects. Once they start doing their ocean exploration and the Bob Ballard project, we're going to try to do some live feeds back into the aquarium, kind of like the old Jason project, but to be able to talk about what's happening out there. And we're really on the cusp of making Gulfport and the Gulf Coast the marine hub of science for the South. You've got Woods Hole up north, you've got Scripps and Monterey Bay on the West Coast. We really have that opportunity to do something world-class with the new buildings that are getting built with Southern Miss over at the port, along with our collaborations with our partners with NOAA and all of the other zoos and aquariums that we partner with. We're on the cusp of a lot of great things. Our director of research went out Tuesday to go tag hammerhead sharks. We're going to do a dolphin research program. We're going to do turtle nesting program. There's so many things that are just nobody's ever done before that are low-hanging fruit for us, and we just can't wait to get started.
I mean, your location couldn't be more perfect for that too. I mean, it just worked out great. It worked out great.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit. You know, obviously, you talked about the economic projections and the people. A lot of those were done obviously before the global pandemic hit us. You know, and even the night we were there on Friday afternoon, there weren't a ton of people there, but y'all's staff was very thoughtful and very trying to keep everybody separated or not allowing huge groups. How are you managing that? Are you limiting the number of people that go through the exhibit, or how are you managed to keep everybody safe?
Yeah, we only sell 125 tickets every half hour. So we do what we call time ticketing. So when you go online to buy a ticket, there's only 125 available every half hour. And then we have a little bit of room for some walk-ups in case we have walk-up people. We're trying to encourage everybody to pick a time and go online to buy them in advance. And so when the weekend on Saturday and Sunday, that flow that we had every half hour seemed to work very well. And we were able to kind of pulse everybody through. We had our biggest crunch point is the big building with the aquarium. Yeah. And, you know, when people are outside, they can kind of distance themselves, and we kind of encourage that. But inside the building, it gets a little tougher. So we had people at the front door. We had people on 3, 2, and 1 as people walk through. And we did have to hold people at times and then let them go and kind of an in and out. So we're keeping an eye on that. We're trying to remind people to socially distance. We have monitors that pop up signs, and we have announcements. So because of that time ticketing, we're able to, it's worked perfectly. You know, we know how many people we should have, but how do you pulse it through it every half hour? And I think we hit the sweet spot. We ended up doing about 1,900 people on Saturday and about 2,100 people Sunday. And that's kind of the limit. You know, that was where we wanted to be, and everything worked great. During the week, we're hitting about 800 or 900 people a day, and that experience is really good and really smooth. So it's the big weekends. Like, we're sold out Saturday and Sunday already for Labor Day weekend. And so it's going to be crowded again, but I think our team's ready to manage it the way we should manage it. And we're learning every day.
Yeah. That's a nice problem to have, being sold out and being too crowded.
Yeah.
But that's the thing. You know, that's the sad thing, obviously, that you're having to limit it at all right now. But hopefully, you know, soon we'll get the vaccine. We'll get going on that. Anything else that I haven't really touched on? Because, like I said, I can vouch for it. It was a really, really wonderful day and a wonderful experience. And, you know, and I was talking to some of the visitor folks on my radio show, and they were saying that people are starting to shy away from airplanes and they're more likely to get into a car. And I think that's kind of got to work a little bit in your advantage also, people taking more weekend trips than flights.
Yeah, that 3-hour drive market, we had a ton of people from Jackson. We had a lot of Alabama and Mobile. We had a lot of Louisiana people come over. So that 3-hour drive market is really the key. People are doing their staycations. Even the schools, I hate to say it, but school kind of helps us because there's a lot of people that are staying home. Parents are trying to figure out what to do with their kids. And, to be able to jump in the car and go spend an afternoon at the aquarium or something is something that we see already. So, the school system inadvertently is helping us. But yeah, you're right. That 3-hour drive market is really our key. Memberships are a great way to come visit us. Buy a membership, come as many times as you want. We have a lot of special member programs that we're going to initiate. Mm-hmm. Even with Audubon, people ask us about Audubon all the time and about competition. And we always say we collaborate together, and we're actually going to do a member reciprocal program to try to drive business to each other, because we want to share what we have. And people like you yourself that have been to multiple aquariums, if there's an aquarium in a city, it doesn't matter you've been to 10 aquariums, you want to go see an aquarium. And so we know that members from New Orleans are going to come over, and we know a lot of our members are already Audubon members. And so we're going to work with them on some collaboration and reciprocals. And, we want to grow that tourism pie, because we understand the bigger the pie is, the better for everybody. And so there's a lot of different programs. You get discounts on food and beverage and retail and all of those things with a membership as well. So it's a great benefit to join. Plus you're supporting our mission. And, our mission is all built on education, conservation, and community.
Yeah, it's funny. I was kind of teasing one of your staff members, saying, well, do y'all have a competition where you do Anchorman kind of street fights and all that stuff on there? And she said, well, where do you think we get our animals and fish from? We have to get along, that's how this works. And it was really fascinating. Just real quickly before I let you go, because you're incredibly busy, but I was going to ask, how did you get into this line of work? Because this is such when you're growing up as a kid, did you look at a fishbowl and saying, you know what, I see my future? Or how did this happen?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. My freshman year of college, I was going to be an architect. And then I said, I don't want to do that. And so I transferred schools. I graduated out of Purdue University, got a degree in hotel, restaurant, and institutional management, went to work for Hyatt Hotels. So my background really was the hotel business. I worked in downtown Chicago in the 80s. Went out to California and worked in Monterey, California for 11 years. Got to the big island of Hawaii, working in resorts. And I saw an ad in the newspaper to be the general manager of a facility called Dolphin Quest Hawaii. And they were looking for somebody to run their business located within a large resort. I knew nothing about the business. I knew nothing about dolphins. I talked my way into the job, and I did it for 3 years. And I learned more in those 3 years than any time in my entire life. And it opened up opportunities that I never thought I would have. In the hotel business, I could go be a general manager of a hotel and do that line of work. I got into this business, and within the first year, I ended up being in the Senate buildings in Washington, D.C., trying to affect policy because there's people out there that want to shut us down. And so I'm lobbying on Capitol Hill, something that I never thought I would ever do, right? And so I did that for 3 years, and then I actually went back into the hotel business. My friends in Hawaii moved around the country in different facilities, and they called me and said, hey, we need you to come run a facility in Florida. So I went and ran a place called Marineland Dolphin Adventure in St. Augustine, Florida for 10 years. And then that's when the Georgia Aquarium bought that facility, and I got to know the people that started this project and kind of moved over. So when you break it down, when I was going into that dolphin business and the swim with programs, it's no different on the business side as running a hotel. You had a perishable product. So we had roughly 150 swims a day with dolphins, just like a 150 room hotel. If I don't sell those products today, I can't sell them tomorrow. It's a perishable product. And so the customer base was the same. I'm selling to tourism. And so it just, the business model, and I was the business side of things, was very similar, and driving the top line revenue, selling your product, controlling expenses. but it's something hooked in me in Hawaii. Like after 3 years, I was sitting with the veterinarians looking at blood slides and talking about medicine and talking about operant conditioning and how you train dolphins, and really opened up a whole new avenue for me. And so that's really how I got into it. I kind of fell into it. After 9/11 in Hawaii, it was a whole nother story. And I just saw the ad in the newspaper and went for it. I knew I was good in the hotel business in what I was doing. And so if I needed to go back into it, I could find a job in a hotel. But I wanted to just take a chance and you know, it's all that risk reward. And I took a risk, and I've been very, very rewarded throughout my career.
Curt, I appreciate you taking the time with us today and telling us a little bit about the Mississippi Aquarium. What's the website?
msaquarium.org.
Very good. So folks can check it out. Take care. I can't wait till I get back down there, and I hope I do. And when I do, I'll say hello.
Yeah, look me up. I enjoy all your programs, so I appreciate the time with you. It's been really good.
Thank you, Curt. Appreciate it. Take care.
Have a good day.
Thanks.